How willing are you to do your weight loss journey badly? Are you willing to fail? I see so many people who are determined to succeed, who are committed, who tell me they're fired up and they're ready to go, um, and that nothing will get in their way. And yet, only about 4% of people who start out on a weight loss journey actually achieve their goal and sustain it. That's a small number for a lot of determined, enthusiastic, motivated people. And today, in this video, I want to talk a little bit about some of the reasons why most people don't succeed, and some of the simple steps that you actually do need to take, and you can take, to make your success inevitable. Today, we're going to be talking about the necessity of practice, and the necessity of failure. Hi, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brian Granger. I'm a life coach and a weight loss coach, and I help frustrated dieters get out of the weight loss mentality, really transform their thinking, change their habits, solve the real issues, why they're overeating in the first place, and then help them train in new habits to get to goal and stay there. I love seeing people live more of their life at goal. Have you ever done it? You've decided to make a change. You feel committed, you feel determined, you feel all the energy there. And, maybe you've done some training, you've joined a program, you've signed up to a gym or a personal trainer or something. You know what to do. But often, you don't do it. I see so many people in this journey go, I'm willing to do anything except have a gain. Right? If they think they've had a gain, they might not show up to their consultation or to their group support meeting or to their weigh-in or their accountability. I made a poor choice. I just won't write that thing down if I'm recording. I think it's too hard to look up the kilojoules, or I don't know the macros, or I don't know the ingredients in that. I don't know how many points are in that. And so do nothing instead. Just avoid it. Avoid taking ownership and accountability. Avoid actually understanding the impact of that choice on their journey. It's like we want to have success, right? How many diets have you started and not finished, not continued, not made a way of life? We want it, but we kind of don't want to have to do the work. We kind of hope that it'll just happen. Our success will just happen to us, that a benevolent fairy will come, or a genie or someone will come and bestow our success upon us just for wishing it so. I sometimes see that even with people I'm working with closely, people in my groups, maybe viewers of these videos. How many videos have you watched? How many of the questions have you actually answered? How many of the worksheets have you downloaded and actually completed? My guess is not all of them. And you're not alone here. So why is it, if we really want our success, why are we unwilling to do it? Well, there are a couple of reasons. Firstly, often when we've tried to do a weight loss program or a fitness program, we've tried to diet, we've tried to make changes that are unrealistic in our life. Right? We haven't actually thought about how to integrate those changes into our existing circumstances, into our existing mindset, into our existing responsibilities and commitments. Our time and our energy, our mental state. We don't factor it in. So we try and layer it on top expecting that we're just going to get new time and new resources from somewhere. So often we try to make changes that aren't realistic, and I think that's the number one thing that actually holds people back there. So we try and do too much change too soon, or we try and make too big a leap at once, or sometimes we have the trap of competency, right? We do something for a little while, maybe we record our food for a week, or we make some healthy choices, maybe we say no to indulgent, unhealthy treats, we stand up for ourselves, or we do some exercise for a week or two, and then we go, I've done that. I don't need to keep practicing that. I don't need to do it anymore. I'm done. I'm fixed. But mastery is a constant practice. It's a discipline. It's not a destination to which we arrive. And so we make the mistake of thinking, I've done it once, therefore I can do it. Therefore, I'll stop doing it. Now, our brains always want to do that. Brains always like to keep doing what they've always done, which is how we get trapped into old, repetitive behaviors. Our brains love doing what they've always done. It's the way to conserve energy. Don't have to build new neurons, don't have to figure out new pathways, and we don't have to fail. We don't have to feel disappointed or embarrassed, or we don't have to feel rejection. We don't have to feel like we've messed up. And it is our unwillingness to feel these things that keeps us. We get into perfectionism. We get into the idea that I have to know how to do it right, or I need to do it perfectly, or I can't do it at all. And this pretty much guarantees you don't get there. Even if you get there, you don't stay there. It's a little bit like, wanting to win the lottery and then actually winning it, right? If we just want it done for us, so we want our goals to be bestowed upon us. But do you know how many people who win the lotto, who are millionaires, who find themselves broke, back to their original circumstances, their original life, the original amount of money, very soon after? And there's a couple of reasons for that. Of course, they haven't built up the capacity to have their success, to have that amount of money, and know what to do with it, how to have it serve them. But also, they haven't built up the skills of creating it, the skills of having it, the skills of managing it. That set of skills of actually learning how to do it and how to integrate it into your life, that's the secret that we skip over when we rush to the end, when we try and be perfect. So, I believe in order to be successful, we have to give up the idea of being perfect, of seeing a loss every week on the scales, or every day, or however often you weigh yourself. We have to be willing to slip up, to make poor choices, to overeat sometimes, to not follow through. We also have to be willing to try things that don't work. How willing are you to try things that don't work? Are you willing to try them long enough to get useful information? It is the necessity of practice. It is practicing. Success is an iterative process. We need to do things again and again and again. Not only to learn what works and what doesn't work, to refine our approach and refine our tools, but to train in the skills. Confidence comes with practice, not avoidance. We get better and better by doing, not just by knowing. This is the gap that I see for most people, that we know what to do, but we either don't do it in a realistic way, or we're frightened of doing it wrong. How to iterate your behaviors in just a moment. But before I do, I want you to know that I feel you. I'm not immune to any of this. And although I've succeeded with my weight loss, I was willing to try out things. I was willing to do my process that you may all know, but if you're watching for the first time, it's one small change at a time that you can live with. I really do believe in breaking it down. Most people don't want to do that. Most people don't want it to go slow. Most people don't want to do it in tiny increments. Most people aren't willing to stay with one habit long enough for it to become a way of life before adding another. And, we get into that fear of failure, and I understand what that's like. I really do. As I said, I've succeeded with my weight loss, but, I have goals for my business. I'm building towards bringing more clients in. I'm building towards my first 100K in my business, in annual income. I'm not there yet. That requires me to be doing things, to be putting my work out there in the world, Sometimes this requires me to show up and be afraid that maybe someone won't like my video or my social post. Someone won't find a worksheet useful or helpful. Someone might get offended or called out, or someone might feel like, that's not for me. But that's okay. I'm learning how to be willing to face the rejection. I'm learning how to face the fear and have it be okay. Right? Everything we've learned, right? Everything that seems hard with your weight loss, everything that seems hard about your change that you want to make in your life is normal. Everything that's already easy in your life was at one time hard. There was a point where you couldn't do it, maybe where you didn't even think you could do it, but you can. How? You had a go. You were willing to try. And probably you got it wrong a lot. Think about learning to walk or drive a car or to do any of your tasks at work. Even to cook a meal. To ride a bike. We have to be willing to do it wrong. We have to be willing to do it badly. We have to be willing to face those feelings. The fear, the rejection, the embarrassment, the shame, the disappointment, the rejection. And know that we're okay. We have to be willing to fail, right? To do something, to fail, to feel all of those emotions, and then to pick ourselves up and do it again. And do it again, and do it again. And as we do, if we follow this process, and I believe there are 3 steps that you really need to follow, then you actually can find the way to do it for life, right? First step is to pay attention, to actually notice, what are you doing? Right? Pay attention. Maybe make a record of what you're actually doing now. What's going on in your mind? What are your cues? What are your triggers in your location, the time, your emotional state, the immediately preceding events in other people who are around? Take notes. Discover, what are your existing habits? Then you want to ask yourself, is it helping? Step 2 is to come to understanding. Is it serving you? Is it moving you towards your future goals? And if it's not, then to come to compassion and compassion with that understanding. To realize that nothing's gone wrong. Your brain's developed the habits that you have because it's trying to protect you. It's trying to do what it thinks was the right thing in the moment. We've learnt along the way that fear is bad. We've learnt along the way, some in our culture, in our society, maybe in our schooling, that failure is bad. We've learnt that all of those emotions, fear, rejection, disappointment, embarrassment, shame, are all bad things. What if we're wrong about that? What if they aren't? What if all of those emotions are just energy in our body? Just energy in our body. Neither good nor bad, just present. What could you do with that energy if you allow it in, if you process it, if you understand it, and have compassion for yourself for creating it? Then you want to consider, what could I do differently? Right? Nothing's gone wrong having it here. It's just not something I want to continue. So what could I do instead? What else might I be willing to try? And again, come back to what I said before earlier. It's got to be realistic. It also has to be connected to why you want to change. You have to really understand your motivation. Are you willing to ask yourself, why does it matter that I succeed? Why do I care about reaching my goals? What difference is that going to make in my life, do I think? And why does that matter? Why is that important? It's very important to stay connected to your compelling reason, to your why. And then you want to go, what is the most realistic change that I can make? What is the small change that is a change? Can't just decide to do something that keeps us where we are if it's not helping. You have to think about what is a change. And can you break it down into smaller steps? Can you do just one small change at a time? What could I try that is in fact different from what I'm doing? And here, and remember, this is where we want to face that idea of maybe that won't be the right thing. Maybe that won't work perfectly. Maybe I'll still have a gain this week. What if that's okay? Because when we try, we test something out. If we pay attention, back to step one, if we pay attention, then we'll learn, right? It is the willingness to do the practice. It's the willingness to pay attention and fail, to do it badly, and learn from it. And then you can ask, right? Part 3 is to make a decision. So part 1, pay attention. Part 2, come to understanding and compassion. Nothing's gone wrong. It's just what you have been doing. Part 3, you want to look at your alternatives. What else could I do? And you want to make the decision, what will I do now? What will I do now? And again, you iterate on that. You try it, you pay attention, you come to understanding, compassion, and then you might make a small change. What could I do differently? What will I do? And here's the beautiful thing that I've learned in all of my years of helping people, and it's the reason why I think I have not only reached my weight loss goal, but I've maintained it now for over 13 years, coming up on 14 years. And that is, I'm willing to get it wrong and to try again, to get it wrong and try again, to get it wrong and try again. So I can find, not the way I should be doing it because someone told me, but because I've found the way that works for me in my life. How do I know? I've tried it out. Tried many things, and some things worked, some things didn't work, and I kept the things that worked, and I learnt from the things that didn't, and then I kept making changes until I found ways that just work, and then I've practiced them enough, right? Again, this is necessity of practice, so that was the necessity of failure. It is the necessity of practice now to keep doing it until it is a new habit, until our brain just locks it in as automatic. In the end, losing weight is simple. We need to eat when we're hungry and stop when we're satisfied. We need to meet our nutrition requirements. We need to physically move our body. We need to be kind to ourselves mentally. It's really all it takes. Now, along the way, there's perhaps 1,000 little habits that you might have to change or adjust or tweak. And each of those you might have to try many times. But it is the willingness to practice the change, to practice summoning the courage and the self-care and the self-esteem and the kindness to ourselves, so that we can continue to iterate, so we can keep practicing. Remember that all emotions are just energy in our body. Different mixes of neurochemicals. It's a vibration. And we create it in our body, with our mind, with the different parts of our brain, with our neurons, with our hormones. We make the feelings, which is beautiful because it means you have the capacity to feel them. You created them. By that measure, you already have the capacity to feel them. So there is no feeling you can't handle. There really is no feeling you can't handle. The only thing that is holding you back is the fear of a feeling. just energy in your body. So are you willing to feel those emotions? And if you are, you'll be willing to do the practice, to gain the understanding, to learn the lessons, so you can continue to iterate. You can continue to make one small change at a time and practice the skill and practice what works for you until it becomes a way of life. Really is all that's required. Now, not everyone is great at doing that on their own. So if you'd like some help, if you'd like to have some support, if you'd like to have my belief in your success, then let's have a conversation. Head to livemorelife.com.au and request a free consultation call. I love chatting with people and finding out what's been getting in your way. What have you tried? What's worked? What hasn't? We can talk about what could you do, actually do, not just think about doing, to move forward. If you'd like a worksheet for today's video, then you can also head to livemorelife.com.au and download the Default to Desired Routines worksheet. The link is above or below this video. I'd love for you to let me know. What are you willing to feel? And what will you practice? Remember, it only has to be one thing at a time to get there. If this video has been helpful for you, make sure you give me a like, give me a heart, give me a reaction, and if you know anyone who could benefit from hearing it, please tag them in the comments or send them the link to the video. You can do it if you're willing to fail, if you're willing to feel the fear and practice anyway. I'll leave you with one last idea. And this is the beautiful thing, is the more we do that, the easier it gets. We realize that failure isn't the end. It's just the next necessary step on the journey to success. So there's less to fear next time, and the time after that, and the time after that. I hope this helps. Hope you have an amazing day. Embrace the fear, summon the courage, practice self-kindness. And go out there and make one small change that you can live with. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.